Hello my friends and welcome to another episode of Death Parade. Now, if you are even incredibly slightly analytical, you would have realised that today probably isn't the same day that I'm recording as with Made in Abyss. And yeah, I kind of got a bit lazy, so this is kind of a panic, I need to record it and get things rendered quite quickly moment. But anyway, that is offset by the fact that Death Parade is actually quite interesting. And it's starting to get to some of the subject matters which have been alluded to from the beginning. I have been corrected on this, as of yet kind of unnamed human girl. And her place in this world, exactly who she is, and her judgment is still being continued. And as well as this episode is a continuation of the last one, we've got a double with the brother and the detective. And considering that both of them are murderers, it might be difficult for some people to judge them fairly. However, if it is down to, as what we have seen, the true darkness in their hearts, then there are circumstances which kind of alleviate some of the context. There's context that we need to understand. So, let's see if we get it. Oh, as per usual, the police are not exactly helpful. Considering he's a detective. And when are they going to realise that they are both dead? Obviously it's at the end. Well, closing in on the end is when they will realise. Can't let them know too early. It'll ruin the fun of judgment. At the minute, what I really want to know, well, it kind of goes without saying, really. The meaning behind the, was it Charlotte? Children's books, and why Deccan was infused with human emotions, and if it has anything to do with the unknown woman, or if it was a separate incident, an experiment. And I do want to see more of Elevator Guy. He's fun. He's so happy all the time. Plus the music in this is just great. How can you not love this this intro? Well, that put a downer on it, didn't it? But you can't be everywhere at once. Worse. Well, that's still letting him off easy, isn't it? It's hard for me to particularly disagree with that, but then again, it's probably best if I don't state it out loud. Unfortunately, who is the deciding factor? Who's going to be the jury in the cases like that? Especially when, like, if I agreed with him that certain people make the world worse and need to be eradicated, then is it up to my judgment? Because I wouldn't trust anyone who trusts my judgment. And the fun thing about this is, if the arbiters do their job and weed out all the people with darkness in their hearts, and those that don't, they then get reincarnated. Right, so that's how he dies as well, isn't it? He had already stabbed him once. He didn't need to go at it so aggressively, but... Anyway, what I was saying was, if they're drawing out the people with darkness who get sent to oblivion, those that don't get reincarnated, that would eventually should cut down on the number of people with true darkness. Then again, it also becomes the birth rate outweighs the death rate. So where are these souls being created if it's not reincarnation? So it's a fruitless endeavour, really. The will to survive, self-preservation, is a very strong primal urge. Because how are you supposed to carry on your gene line if you don't stay alive? And fear is a good way to keep you alive. Oh no. He enjoyed it. That wasn't a smile of, I've done it, I've achieved my goals. That was someone who enjoyed it. Now we can see the difference between the two. They're both motivated by revenge, but... You see, if anyone else in this circumstance would think something is weird. Okay. I'm starting to understand his mindset now, aren't I? He's basically a police detective seeking revenge, got his mark, and then enjoyed killing. I'm guessing carried on, or would have carried on, to act out his own sense of justice to eradicate the parasites from the world that he sees. Well, that sounds strangely reminiscent, doesn't it? I just watched a movie the other day which had a sentence like that. And it was usually, well, it was actually the bad guys that were quoting it. You might want to keep your eye on the puck, though. Even though it is just playing ice hockey, it's fun to see this go on. That was the guy that the other one stabbed. Yeah, blood on the floor. So why was he tailing him as well? Did our little brother guy kill him? Interesting. And the pieces are in place. That's the knife that... Why did that float up? See, he's worked it all out, but the kid hasn't. How's he going to react knowing that the guy who killed him is standing next to him? And having it just spelled out to him means he remembers. Was that 3:30 in the morning or the afternoon? Not that it matters, but... You see, it could have been an innocent bystander there. Was it worth it though? He can't protect his sister from the afterlife. Interesting question. Was he there to enact his own sense of judgment? So he's a serial killer that kills bad people. He knew about it, yeah. So that was it, was it? Someone that could have stopped it. It's not going to be something so elegant as that, because it would make sure she didn't die or some bollocks. There we go. He had to see the crime in order to fulfill the punishment. Goddamn serial killers. He is a psychopath. Not everyone is like you, Detective Arsewipe. Well, yes, he could technically have stabbed her, but... Or you could have saved the sister and killed him straight away. If your motive was to kill him, then why fucking wait? If you knew that was his goal. Remember when I said context is necessary? The two reasons for the killings were different. And the motives behind them. Are you forcing his hand? This is dirty. The detective is past... The detective is past salvation. This kid isn't. Yes, drawing out the darkness and seeing what's there is good, but this is more forcing it. She makes a good speech. And while they're speaking, he's got the knife, hasn't he? Would the other arbiters been able to understand her just then? Or was it because Declan was being infused with emotion? Yes, but there's a difference for when you're getting enjoyment from it. No, kid. She knows what would happen if he did. His decision will be made for him if he lowers the knife any further. Unfortunately, some people can't see past the short-sighted goals for the long-term investment there. If he holds his anger, he might be able to see his sister. Everyone will actually know who she is once he gets out again, but or he can take judgment straight away. Condemn himself. But gain the short-term satisfaction of doing it. Oh, shut up, dude. He is little better shite than those that he deems worthy of killing, isn't it? He devoted his life to his sister. He devoted his death to his sister. And in this act of vengeance, he has damned himself. Interesting to see that, his original actions didn't have any of the gravity like the detectives did. So, like I've been saying, was this darkness there to begin with, or was it created through this trial? No, you won't, mate. You're fucked. Do you understand now, Deccan? We only saw one mask there, so there's still hope that Deccan is withholding judgment until he understands his own mind first. But then again, he was warned. How many times can you tell someone, don't do this, you will screw everything up, and they still continue to do it? Can you say, we'll let you off? But this is an interesting dilemma now, isn't it? When the arbiters themselves can't tell if their judgment is just, who audits the arbiters? Who judges the judges of the judged? I mean, yeah, it all swings round back to the first episode. Things have gotten incredibly darker in terms of exactly what the people have committed or potential of committing. In the first episode, it was just adultery, which is still real bad in my book, but compared to systematic and psychotic murder, the two aren't equal. So does this mean that all previous cases need to be re-evaluated because the arbiters themselves are, well, one arbiter is learning? And is this all just a grand experiment by Nona? Because the old guy, I can't remember, do we know his name? The flowery, multicoloured haired old man thing. The one who's self-proclaimed deity. Does he know about this experiment? Did he order it? Interesting thought experiment, if nothing else. This entire show is an interesting thought experiment. It's probably why I'm not in the legal profession, and I wouldn't ever take my advice or my understanding of the world into account when judging your own actions. But also, don't expect me to defend you, or you can try to rise above it and see the greater goal. Unfortunately, there is a caveat to that, because the detective saw the greater goal, the eradication of who he deemed unworthy. But that was a flawed premise in itself. Pretty much like every factor of human life, things are complicated. People are complicated. And before we bring down the room and start parading around some sort of existential dread, I think it's time to bring up the levity a little bit. But to do that, I need to end the episode and move on to something else. So, if you have enjoyed, please let me know. Keep going back for more. Go in the link in the description, go onto the Discord, get your vote in if you want to have your say on what's coming up next. And of course, if you want to stick around and actually chat for a bit with some of the guys on there, I would understand and probably appreciate it. But until next time, get some rest, and I'll see you in the next one.